Okay, so we started our discussion of ggplot2 by looking at the structure of a plot. We said that there are three main components. You have the data, then you have the mapping, and then you have the geometric object. We looked at, we said that we're going to look at five objects, basic objects. You have the scatter plot, you have the line, you have the histogram, then you have the box plot and the bar plot. Now, so far we have discussed the first three. What did we say? Do we use the scatter plot for? Saan natin ginagamit yung scatter plot? What type of variables? And how many variables? Anyone? Pag scatter plot, ano ginagamit natin? When is that used for? It's used to, guys, to para saan? Anong klaseng variables ang inaano niya?
Sir, it's
Yes.
numerical variables, sir.
Yes, numeric variables, ano? And then, i-delete ko muna ito kasi... Okay. So, it's used to establish a relationship between two numerical variables. Okay? So, dapat yung x and y natin pareho numerical, and then also, dapat walang sequencing yung yung one of the variables. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya time series. Kasi kung time series, guys, what do we use to plot time series? So by variate then, you have one data, one variable, having a sequence, kunyari times ano siya, time plot, and the other one is numerical. So the best way to plot this is a line graph, no? Not a scatter plot. So let's have just to set that example. Okay, so I'm now using the box plot, bar plot. So ano na lang guys, load na lang ng mga packages natin in case you haven't loaded it. Okay, I sent a file dun sa natin sa modules natin. Okay, just sent it just a while ago kasi in passing na discuss namin dun sa kabilang section to. Yung dyno data. The dyno data is the data that we use dun sa ANSCOM. Pero ito yung 12th pair ng data. So why don't we run this? Okay, why don't we import this? Now, how do you access data from, let's say, from your computer and import it to R? There are several ways to do this. One way, let's take a look at one way. It's from the import data set in your environment pane. No? So import data set, click here, and then we're going to use that bike rental, bike share data. It's a CSV file, so we use the from text. It's a text file actually. Okay, not Excel. Pag Excel, di ba XLSX yung file type. Ito CSV siya, so and then look for that data where you saved it. Dyno data siya sa akin. Okay. Do you see my screen, guys? Yung import data set.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, notice yung data natin, it has a variable name x and y. Now, please make sure that you check this kasi minsan napupunta siya sa no, yung heading, ibig sabihin no. So, ang ginagawa niya, yung x and y will form part of your data. So, mali yun. Pag no yan, nag-i-introduce siya ng panibagong variable, v1, v2. So, as much as possible, guys, before you import, medyo ayusin nyo yung data nyo. Lagyan nyo ng pangalan if necessary, but almost always it's necessary naman. So heading, yes. Separator is a comma. This is a comma separated file. Okay. Strings as factors, wala naman tayong strings dito. So I'll ignore that. Import. Okay. Once I import it, andi dito na siya. Automatically view na niya, no? Ito, X at saka Y. Okay, the code for that is actually ito. No? Ito yung code na yun, guys. No? Ito siya. Ito yung complete code. It will appear in your console. Pag nag-import kayo, guys, mag-a-appear sa console niyan yung code that should have been run in order to access that data. So I'm going to copy it here. Okay, so this is the code in importing that data. It's a read.csv, and then ilalagay ko lang dito yung file location. So of course, if this will have a different file location in your computer, then kasama na rin yung view dyno data. So ito siya. So you have two variables, x and y. Okay. What's the best way to plot these two, x and y? Is it a line graph or a scatter plot? Okay,
Scatter plot, sir.
Scatter plot nga. Sige. So ilagay nga natin example dito, mag-insert tayo ng ano. So let's run a ggplot here. Okay, and then ang ano natin, ggplot, data natin is equal to dino. So pinype ko lang dino, guys, lumabas na yung dino data. Ibig sabihin, nasa data na natin siya. Tab na natin. Okay. And then mapping natin is equal to yung a step natin. Ano yung x natin? X is equal to, in this case, x is equal to x, and y is equal to y. Okay? And then plus, let's try first a geom line. Okay, so how will our plot look like if we use a geom line, a line graph? Okay. Can you see the result, guys?
Yes, sir.
Is this what we intended it to be? Hindi naman, di ba? Kasi nag-connect siya ng chronological na arrangement ng data natin. And that's not what we wanted, no? So you don't use a geom line if the data has no sequencing. Okay, so let's create another plot. This time, copy lang natin to, Control-C, Control-V, and we said that we can actually remove the data. We can remove the mapping. Pwede naman yan. We can remove the x is equal to, kasi mababasa naman ni Aryan. Okay. Plus, let's use a geom point. Yan. Okay. So this is the same plot that we had last time, di ba? Yeah. So I'm just illustrating this to distinguish between the geom line and the geom point. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Geom point, geom lines, geom point is your scatter. Geom line is for your line graph. What was the third one, guys, that we plotted last time?
Histogram, sir.
Histogram. Okay. Saan ginagamit yung histogram? Anong klaseng variable?
Single numerical variable.
Thank you. Numerical din, no? Single siya. One variable numerical. And it's used to count, no? Pwede bibilangin natin. And we said that your histogram will depend on your bins. Kung ilan yung ilan yung bins, ilan yung containers na ilalagay yung data natin. The default is how many bins? Ilang bins yung default, guys? Kay R? Anyone? You recall?
30 bins, sir.
Correct. 30 bins yung default natin, no? Of course, we can increase the number of bins. We can reduce it depending on our choice. Or we can define our histogram by the width. So we use the bin width. Okay. And last time we said that it's if you have a numerical variable and it can be categorized by different factors, then what functionality, what layer can we use in order to distinguish between the histograms of these different factors? Anong layer yun, guys? Anong pangalan? Yung letter F?
Facet, sir.
Yes, facet wrap, no? yung facet trap natin, then i-define natin kung ano yung factor na yun. Diba? Last time, ang ginamit natin yung temperature, tapos finacet trap natin by month. No? So, ang ginawa ni R, ni ggplot, gumawa siya ng ng histogram ng bawat month. Okay, and then we even tried to look at one column, di ba? Or 12 rows, etc. So, for numerical variable, guys, it's a histogram, and we can, if that has can be defined by several factors, then we can use the facet trap. Okay, then we go to boxplot, our fourth named graphs. Faceted histograms, guys, so just a few notes here, is one type of data visualization when we're comparing numerical variables. And it can be split by the values of a factor. Okay? Now, a box plot, on the other hand, gives us the 5-number summary of a numerical variable. So what type of data can we get the 5-number summary, guys? First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and then the minimum, maximum. Anong klaseng data ang pwede nating kunan ng 5-number summary na yan? Pakichat lang, guys. Pwede ba yung character variable? Can we get the 5-number summary for a character variable? Okay. So, Ken, thank you. Arnal, thank you. So, tama, no? Hindi pa pwedeng kunin yung 5-number summary kapag character yung variable natin. Only numerical variable, no? Okay, only numerical variable, can we get the 5-number summary? So, ibig sabihin, guys, yung next plot natin, box plot, pang numerical variable din to. Okay, but we use this not to have a histogram, but rather to have a plot of your 5-number summary. Okay, so let's run this. I-generate natin, guys. Kung hindi nyo pa na-generate to, si flights at saka si weather ulit. Okay, and then let's get the structure of weather kasi ito yung gagamitin natin ngayon. Okay, so where was I? Okay, here. So saan yung glimpse niya? Okay, to get the structure, okay, sabi natin, take a look at the weather data frame. So 15 variables and 26,000 observations. May character, may integer, may double, may date and time. So this is the structure of our data frame weather. Okay. Now let's try to attempt this. In order to come up with a box plot, we use the object, plotting, the geom underscore box plot function. Okay. Now tingnan natin, guys, no? Ang dinalagay natin sa y natin yung quantitative. Si temperature ba quantitative? Yes, double siya, no? Double, 39.02, etc. Okay, so what happens to this plot? X is equal to month. Okay, then Y is equal to temperature. So ito parang faceting siya, guys, no? Kung yung histogram may faceting, si box plot may faceting din siya. Ang linalagay natin sa X, yung pang-facet natin. If we run this, okay, but isa lang yung isang plot lang nakikita natin. Why? Why, guys? So, this is wrong, no? Hindi natin nakikita yung yung mga 5-number summaries ng temperature natin on a monthly basis because that's what we want. Okay, so what's wrong with this? Dapat, guys, yung box plots natin, yung ilalagay natin sa X will be a categorical variable para ma-map natin yung 5-number summary dun sa y-axis. Okay, unfortunately, guys, yung month natin na ginamit natin is anong data type yan? Integer. Hindi pwede yan, guys. Okay. If we want to plot a variable, a quantitative variable, and try to see it from several classifications or several facets, so ginamit natin sa histogram, then your x-axis should be a categorical variable. In this case, it's not, it's an integer. So how do we resolve this? Very easy, guys. To resolve it, we just convert your weather, your month into a factor. No? So here, where yung weather yung variable na month sa weather, we're converting it as factor. Okay? And then let's run this. Let's check yung glimpse natin ng weather. Okay, what happened, guys? Si month natin ngayon is already a factor. Okay? So factor na siya. Sabi natin si factor are character variables that we use for classifications. Okay, so let's now rerun this. Again, the same function, guys. The same code. Data is equal to weather. Mapping, ang x natin yung month, ang y natin yung numeric variable na temperature. And then we're going to plot it by geo boxplot. Run. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the box plot is a neat way, guys, especially kung may kino-compare tayong mga factors para makita natin yung variability sa distribution ng data natin in terms of measures like, so what's this, guys? What is this measure? Yung lowest point ng box natin. What's this? Anyone? Just unmute yourself.
Quartile 1, sir?
Yes, this is quartile 1. What's this? This bold line here.
Median.
Okay, or your quartile 2. Median or your quartile 2. And what's this one?
Third quartile.
Correct. Quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. This height, guys, yung quartile 3 minus quartile 1, accounts for 50% of your data. So this is the middle 50% of our data. Andito yung concentration, 50% of our data. Okay, what's this one? This last point here. The tip.
Minimum value, sir.
Okay. Technically, it may or may not be your minimum value. But absolutely, it will always be your what? Kasi pwedeng hindi minimum yan, no? In this case, tama, minimum siya. Pero baka hindi rin pwedeng, in other cases, hindi siya minimum value. Pero it will always be what? What's this?
The smallest, sir.
The smallest is your minimum, di ba? So not
There's a
necessarily.
lower bound.
Okay, the lower bound, which is what? What's the lower bound?
Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR.
Okay, that's correct, no? So itong ano na to, guys, itong lowest tip na to ng whisker natin, this is your quartile 1 minus this length is 1.5 times IQR. Okay, how do you compute, by the way, IQR? IQR is, ito sinulat ko na dito, no? Actually, hindi dito na yan, guys. No? What's IQR? Your interquartile range is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Okay? So this length here, hanggang dito sa dulo, is quartile 1 minus 1.5 times IQR. So that one. Ito, guys, ito, at saka ito pareho. This is 1.5 times IQR also. And this one is your quartile 3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Okay? All right, let me clarify kanina yung minimum. Tingnan natin tong month 5, guys. This is not the minimum. This is the minimum. Okay? The minimum is the lowest point, whether dun sa whisker or any dot. Okay, kaya sabi ko, not all cases minimum to. In this case, minimum siya kasi wala tayong dot dito. Ito. Okay, ito din, minimum, 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 not minimum, no? Okay, not minimum to. Ang minimum niya, guys, yung pinaka-lowest na dot. Okay, so there will be instances when the tip, okay, so this is the lower range natin ng Q1 minus 1.5 IQR. It's minimum, okay? It's also the tip of your whisker, okay? But not in all cases is this the minimum. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Ganon din dito, guys, no? Yung maximum natin, not necessarily the tip here. Ang maximum is the highest na dot natin. Okay, dito marami tayong mga mga maximum which does not fall under the edge of the tip, yung pinaka-tip natin dito. Okay, so I hope that's clear, guys. And these dots here are the outliers based on Tukey's classification. Kasi according to Tukey, T-U-K-E-Y, kay Tukey, guys, anything outside quartile 1 minus 1.5 times IQR will be an outlier. Anything outside quartile 3 plus 1.5 times IQR are outliers. So dito maraming outliers, and that's represented by dots. Okay, that's represented by dots. So just some notes here. No? IQR is Q3 minus Q1. Then the length of the whisker one, lower and upper, are this one. Sorry, this should be plus. No? Okay. Alright. So, pwede din naman, guys, yung pag-plot natin, pwede na natin hindi convert. Diniretso na natin dito yung pag-convert. Okay? We could have done this to avoid this code chunk here. Pwede natin diniretso na pag plinot natin si X, it will be as a factor, no? Yung month. Alright? Any questions so far, guys?
None, sir.
Okay. So let's take a look at some notes about our box plot. So, di ba yung box natin, sinasabi natin, yun yung first, second, and third quartile. Yun. Yun yung box natin. Yung height ng box, we said a while ago, is your IQR. Okay? It's the measure of the spread of the middle 50% of the values, with longer boxes indicating more variability. So let's take a look at this. Okay, ito middle 50% ng data natin. It ranges from your quartile 1 hanggang quartile 3. 50% of your data are concentrated on that IQR. Which box plot, guys, which month do you think exhibits the highest variability? Ano dyan yung pinakamataas na variability? Anyone? Anong month kaya?
November, sir.
Yes. Why November?
Pinaka long na box out of
Yeah,
all.
that's correct, no? That's correct. So visually, thank you tama, November, no? Ito yun, yung pinakamalaking variability is the biggest IQR as represented by this box. Ang smallest naman natin, that will be what? Anong month yun?
August.
August, correct. Ito yung relatively, ito yung pinaka maliit, no? Okay. So, let's take a look at this. Okay, the whisker, sabi natin, it represents points less than 25th percentile and greater than the 70th percentile respectively. Ito, binanggit natin kanina, 1.5 times IQR. Okay, the box, the dots representing values outside the whiskers are called outliers. Now, note, guys, that the definition of an outlier is somewhat arbitrary. There will be other definitions of outliers, so that's not absolute. The box plot, guys, is a two-key method. Yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. That's a two-key method of identifying kung sino yung mga outliers. So here we can see that there are months where there are really outliers. Now, what's extraordinary about this, guys? Which among the outliers seems to be very extraordinary?
July,
Bakit July?
because it reached the highest peak.
Okay? So sabi natin si July, siya yung pinaka may maximum na ano, no? Na data point, actually maximum almost 100, no? Among all the months, no? Okay, aside from that, what's extraordinary about this plot? May bukod tayong ano medyo extraordinary yung month na to eh.
Is it May, sir?
Yes. Bakit May?
Because there's an outlier that's so far from the lower
Yeah.
bound.
Di ba? Tingnan niyo to. Oh, masyado siyang malayo. Di ba? May tapos mababa yung temperature, ibig sabihin malamig, ano? And usually, well, sa Philippines, ano, pag May, ay katulad ngayon, napaka-humid na, di ba? Ang init-init. Tapos ang hirap, hindi pa tayo makapasyal. Kasi, this Wuhan virus really. Anyway, so ito, no? Yeah, yung May medyo extraordinary, no? So tingnan nga natin yan, guys. Let's study this. Okay. So here, let's isolate that point, no? So using weather, we filter the month. Month is equal to 5, that's May, and then hanapin nga natin na itong point na to. Less than 25. Let's see what this point is. So let's run this. Itong ganda, magkagandahan guys ang ano no ng dplyr, no? So with just one code, makukuha natin yung data na May at saka temperature less than 25. Let's run this. Okay, ilan lang siya, guys? How many
13.1.
How many data points do we have? That it's in May and less than 25. Ilang data points yun? Ilan?
Just
Ilan?
one, sir?
Yeah, just one, di ba? Tingnan to, 1/15 lang. So we have one observation and 15 rows kasi guys, yung filtering naman, ang ina-adjust yan yung rows. Okay, so you still maintain your columns, your variables. Remember guys, itong filter, di ba? This is from data manipulation, dplyr. Sabi natin ang filter, ang ginagalaw lang niya, yung mga rows, hindi niya ginagalaw yung mga columns. So isang row lang nakita, 15 columns pa rin. And what's the temperature? Nasagot na kanina, sabi, it was 13.1, di ba? Okay, so what's so mysterious about that? What's so mysterious about that, guys? Yung 13.1 na yan. Kasi kung i-summary natin, guys, summary, tingnan natin ha. Oops, caps ako. Summary. Summary si weather, and then temp. Ilang kunin natin? Ano ba summary ng niya? Okay. May minimum siya, no? Ay, wait. Sorry. Hindi. Temp. Hindi, the whole temperature to eh. No, hindi. Magsa-subset muna tayo. Wag na muna yun, no? Wag na muna. Okay, so repeat muna to. Wag na muna kasi... Okay. What was my question? Okay, sabi natin 13.1 yung ano, yung minimum niya, ito. Pero, guys, yung ano niya, yung median niya is around 60 plus, di ba? And the minimum and the lower value natin dito is around, so if this is 37, mga 40 something, around 40 something. Tapos 13.1, ba't kaya ganun? And then what's so mysterious about this, guys? Yung pa rin tanong ko kanina, no? What's so mysterious about this? Hint, it has something to do with the origin. Any guess, guys? Kung what's so mysterious about that, yung 13.1 na yan? Okay. Hint, guys, clue. It has something to do with the origin. Okay, let me lead you to the answer, guys. How many origins do we have? How many airports do we have in New York based on this data?
One, sir.
One lang ba? Tingnan natin ha. So, summary nga natin. Summary natin si whether si origin. Ay, wait. Hindi summary.
4, sir.
4
No, 4 airports.
or airports.
4 origin, sir.
3 lang, no? 3 lang siya, guys. You have Newark, you have LaGuardia, and you have JFK. Thank you for that answer, no? Close enough, no? But it's 3, no? 3 lang yung ano natin. Tanggalin ko na nga to. Sorry, mali yung kinukuha kong summary. Okay, 3 lang siya, guys. Pero, what do you notice about this? Sino lang, guys, yung may 13.1 na temperature na yan? Si JFK lang. Tama? Kung magkakalapit lang sila, it's so unlikely, guys, na magkakalapit lang yung mga yan kasi, no? Parang ano lang yan, parang siguro naiya natin at saka yung Millennial Airport, no? They're really close. So, paano si JFK nagka 13.1 siya, sila Guardia hindi. Di ba? You see the point, guys? It's highly unlikely that one airport had this freak of a temperature and yet the other 2 airports did not. Kasi kung temperature talaga yan, then it would have registered siguro pati yung tatlong pati yung tatlong yung dalawang airports na yun. So most probably, guys, this could have been ano kaya to, guys? Possibly?
An error, sir?
Yes, possibly. So medyo mag-iisip na kayo. You will have to check with the meteorological offices, no? Yung pinakapag-asa nila, yung USA Meteorological Department yata. And then check really kung ganun ba talaga yung temperature. Kasi if it only happened in one airport, then it's suspect, no? Suspect yung data na yan. Okay? So those are just some key points there. Okay, we answered this already. Which months have the highest variability? Okay, so sabi natin, si November, maybe si April din, okay, si December, and the lowest variability, yung mga maliliit yung IQRs nila. So visually, guys, makikita natin dito yan. Now this question, box plots provide a simple way to identify outliers. Kitang-kita natin sa box plot kasi based on the 2 keys formulation, makikita natin yung those that are outside the whiskers, upper and lower whiskers. Now, why is it that mas madali siya makita yung outliers using box plot as compared to a faceted histogram? Any guess? Ba't kaya mas mahirap kung gagamitin natin si faceted histogram para ma-identify yung outliers? Answer is, si guys, si box plot, they're really designed for that. They're really designed to identify the quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, yung lower na whisker, yung upper na whisker, and any values beyond that are plotted as dots, as outliers. Si faceted histogram hindi kasi it will depend on the beans, the bean width. So possible na hindi ma-capture yung outliers natin based on that. So when you want to identify outliers, pag plot lang naman, it's best to use the box plot instead of the histogram. Okay? Clear yan, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Sige, thank you. All right, let's now go to bar plot. Ang kaibahan, guys, ni box plot at saka ni bar plot, si box plot pang numerical, si bar plot pang categorical. Okay, so that's the main difference. Okay, so take note ha. Pag pinapaplot sa inyo yung numerical, then box plot yon. Pag categorical, then bar plot. Okay, dito makikita natin yung distribution ng ng categorical variable natin. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Sa bar plots, guys, mostly counting lang to, no? Okay? Or frequencies. And there are two types, geom bar and geom column. We'll just take a look at geom bar and then discuss geom column in the future. Importante sa atin ngayon yung geom bar. Okay, so anong difference sila? Pag pre-counted na yung categorical variable, you use geom bar. Okay? Pag hindi, guys, baliktad, no? Pag not pre-counted yung categorical variable, geom bar, sorry, I stand corrected. Pag pre-counted, guys, you use a geom column. Okay? Now, let's take a look at an example where we have yung carrier, no? Nasa flights. Flights, carrier. Okay. Now, we don't have information here na pre-counted na ilan yung UA, ilan yung B6, ilan yung DL. So pag ganyan, guys, walang information about that in our data itself, then we make use of the geom bar. Ayan. Okay, so make sure you have run this. Okay, hindi ko na isa-summarize, guys. But we know that carrier is a categorical variable, no? Okay, so let's create a ggplot out of that. Data is equal to flights. Mapping is equal to a stat x is equal to carrier. Notice, guys, the difference between the box plot and the bar chart, no? Si bar chart, categorical siya. Okay, and then plus geom bar. Let's run this. Okay, so yan. So you have now a frequency count in terms of a bar chart of the different carriers. Then of course you can experiment. Tingnan nga natin if this will work. Fill is equal to okay. Fill is equal to blue, okay, or etc. And if you want, guys, pwede din natin. So hindi ko pa nagagamit, ano? Theme underscore. Okay, theme underscore, my black and white, my classic. Okay, so let me use the classic. Wait. Okay, dali, may ibang rule kasi sa paggamit ng theme, no? Okay. Hindi siya gumana, no? Kaya I'll explain yung theme, guys, later on mamaya dun sa susunod natin na lesson. Okay, so let me just remove this. Hindi pala siya gagana pag geom bar. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now what happens if instead of geom bar, we use geom column? Take note, guys, that carrier, okay, so X natin si carrier, Y is equal to number plus geom column. Okay, what happened here? Ano nangyari, guys, pag geom column?
Error, sir.
Error kasi, dali, tanggalin natin to kasi hindi siya comparative dun sa isa, hindi siya comparable dun sa isa. Sorry about that. Okay. So take note guys, kinumpare natin tong carrier dito at saka si geom column. Hindi siya nagra-run, no? Bakit? Kasi ginagamit lang natin guys yung geom column, ginagamit lang natin to kapag pre-counted siya. Pag hindi pa pre-counted, we use the geom bar. We'll have an example of geom column later on. Okay, so any questions guys with the geom but with the bar chart? Simple lang naman guys, ang bar chart ginagamit lang yan pag pag ang pinaplot natin yung frequency, yung mga character variables. Okay? Then we have two types, geom bar pag hindi pa siya nabilang, not yet pre-counted. Geom call pag pre-counted na siya. Okay? So let's go to pie charts. Now, maraming debate dito sa pie chart na to, no? So si pie chart, it's not really a good way to plot your data kasi medyo nami-misjudge natin yung yung hindi tayo magaling sa angles, no? Lalo pag circle. So you can search guys the net. Siguro i-google nyo problems with pie charts or issues with pie charts and you'll see there are several examples of why pie charts are not a good way to plot your data. Si Naomi Robbins in his book Creating More Effective Charts, Effective Graphs, sabi niya, we overestimate angles greater than 90 degrees and we underestimate angles less than 90 degrees. So yun ang limitations ng visualization tools natin, no? Okay, so it's difficult for us to determine the relative size of one piece of the pie compared to another. Okay, so maraming illustrations guys na akala mo mas malaki yung isang pie, yung portion ng isang pie, yung pala mas maliit siya. Kasi nga we're poor at doing that. Okay, now sa bar plots guys, continuing with bar plots, actually we can plot a particular numerical variable and then parang quote-unquote, ifa-facet natin siya, okay? Magjo-joint distribution tayo, ibig sabihin, meron ding another bar plot to account for another variable, usually a factor. So ulitin natin ha. Let's take a look at this. So meron tayong carrier, ito yung x natin, ito yung hinahanapan natin ng frequency. Okay? And we said that if you fill niya with origin. So this is just like creating a joint distribution. Parang dalawang plots to. Okay? Superimposing si carrier, which is a new character variable, with the origin, which is also a character variable. And since both of these are not pre-counted, so gagamitin natin si geom bar. Let's plot this. Okay, so what do we have now? On the x-axis is your carrier. Okay? Tapos, naka-superimpose niya dyan, andyan dyan yung, what do we have here? The quote-unquote facets, no? Or the different parts of your origin. So, nag-joint distribution tayo ng carrier at saka ng origin. Okay, so noticeable here, there are some carriers, guys, where mostly they came from JFK, yung iba naman mostly from EWR, yung iba mostly from LaGuardia. So if you take a look at this, for example, si 9E, most of its flights came from JFK, di ba, yung origin. Tapos dito sa AA, hindi natin masyado ma-distinguish, parang mas malaki yung LGA niya. Some are very obvious. Yung iba naman hindi ganun ka obvious. Okay, ito si B6, obviously most of them are galing from JFK. Si UA, most of them are from EWR. Okay, the disadvantage of this is that it's quite difficult to see yung side-by-side comparison. Kunyari ito JFK, ito JFK din, di ba? Sino mas malaki kaya sa kanila? Mahirap ma-judge, no? It's difficult to compare among the different carriers, no? Compare the frequencies of the different origins. Okay? Of course, guys, pwede rin natin binaliktad yan, no? Pag binaliktad natin siya na yung X natin si origin, ang makikita natin dito, si origin, tapos naka-superimpose yung different carriers. So let's do that. Okay. Add na lang natin yung insert, R. Let's just copy this. Control C, Control V. Tapos, lagyan natin dito, origin. Field natin is carrier. Okay. So let's run this. Okay. Yan. Okay. Mas mahirap, no? Ang hirap i-decipher kasi yung tatlong airports natin, okay, kunyari si EWR, makikita natin na, kasi yung shades no? Hindi natin alam kung EV o F9. No? So that's the problem there. Okay, any questions? Any questions, guys?
None, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let's move on. Okay. Yung kanina, guys, yung plinat natin na to, si carrier, yung nasa X, tapos yung joint distribution niya with origin na on top of each other, it's called a stack bar plot. Okay, sabi ko nga, ang difficulty niyan is to compare the heights of the different colors between the bars. So what we can do is, pwede nating, anong muna natin, guys, no? Dito kasi ano tayo, no? Fill natin yung origin. Remember, guys, pag fill, yun ang ginagamit natin to, quote-unquote, fill in the color of the plot. Pag color naman, anong ginagawa? Yung outline lang yan. So let's run this. Similar lang sa taas siya, na bago lang yung ano. Okay, so color, take note, ang linagyan ng color yung borders. Hindi yung fill mismo ng object natin, ng bar natin. Okay, so just to show this. Okay, ito naman, guys. Ito. Okay, what we can do is, instead of stacked bar plots, we can do a side-by-side bar plot. Pag side-by-side, ang tawag dyan, dodged bar plots. So what's the function for that? Pareho din, ang nababago lang, we have to define na yung position niya, dodge. Kasi dito, sa G yung bar, tas empty, ang default niya, yung stacked yan. Okay, kapag linagay natin dito dodge, ang gagawin niya, let's run this. Okay, you see what happened, guys? Okay, how do we understand this plot? Side by side niya, lahat ng mga ano natin, ng mga bar charts, bar plots with the joint distribution nung origin, signified by the different colors. Okay, so kunyari si 9E, kita natin pinakamaliit si Newark, pinakamataas na si JFK, tapos dito lang sa level na to si LGA. And it can compare with the other carriers. So note here that B6 has the highest JFK, tapos si DL, tapos si 9E. Okay, that's very good kasi makikita natin yung comparison. Ang disadvantage lang, medyo pag marami na kunyaring variables to, masyado nang parang nakakalito kasi mahaba na, no? Okay, also, what do you notice? Can you see something about the other plots? Kunyari, si AS, si F9, si FL, si HA, si VX. What is distinct about them? Si WN, si YV. Okay, can you notice what's different about them?
1 to 2 origin lang. Origins lang.
Okay, correct. At tapos, anong ginawa niya? tama 1 to 2 origins lang. Kunyari si AS, isang origin lang yan, kaya si Newark lang yung nag-appear dyan. And then what did it do? May ginawa siya sa plot, no? You notice that? Anong ginawa niya sa plot? In-occupy niya yung buong width, no? Okay, in-occupy niya yung buong width. So si AS, kita niyo mas malaking width niya kaysa dun sa ibang bars natin. Ganon din si F9, si FL, si HA. Ganon din guys si VX. Si VX, kinuha niya yung buong width, hinati niya dun sa dalawa. Okay? So you see here that some carriers don't fly out from certain origins. Si FL, from LGA lang siya, from LaGuardia lang siya. Ganon din si YTV. Si AS, from Newark lang siya. Okay? Si WN, okay, it does not fly out of JFK, tapos halos parehong-pareho, almost equally distributed yung sa EWAR, Newark at saka sa LaGuardia. Okay? Alright, so yun ang ginawa niya pag walang zero data from the origin, fino-full niya yung plot. So the advantage of this side-by-side plot, guys, is may comparison tayo. Kita natin, alam natin na CUA has the most flights emanating from EWR, second only si EB. In terms of JFK naman, si nangunguna, si B6. Okay? The rest are very small. Yung iba walang JFK. Yung iba walang LGA, etc. So this is a pretty neat way to plot, guys, your bar chart kasi may comparison tayo, no? Unlike yung stock, medyo mas mahirap yung stock. Only that, pag marami na to, guys, pag marami na tayong variables, medyo not variables but rather factors, no? Kasi hindi man carrier para is a variable. Yung origin is also a variable. Pag marami na silang factors, guys, medyo mas mahirap na tingnan, no? Okay, so then here, what did we do here? We don't want the single bar to occupy the width of all the carriers. So ito gagawin natin, guys, si G yung bar, position natin is equal to, hindi lang dodge, position dodge, kaso i-preserve natin yung single. Which means hindi niya i-occupy yung buong column if it's only a single or double carrier. Run natin. Okay. Take a look, guys. So, maintain lang niya yung width ng single, no? Okay. Look, hindi niya inoccupy yung buong width ng sa carrier. Okay, guys, clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Then lastly, bago tayo pumunta doon sa panibagong file na binigay ko, okay, lastly, guys, again, guys, pwede nating pwede tayo mag-facet din kahit geom bar. So hindi lang yung geom histogram yung fina-facet natin. Pwede rin tayo mag-facet wrap kay geom bar. Only it will be medyo iba yung magiging kaysa kapag geom bar ang ginagamit natin na dodge or yung geom bar lang mismo. So let's do this. So pareho lang, no? Ang X natin would be carrier and then geom bar and then mag-a-add tayo ng wrap. Ang i-wrap natin si origin. Di ba? Ibig sabihin, i-distinguish niya yung carrier among the origins and then n column, gawin natin 1 column. No? Let's run this. Okay, what do you have here? What do you have, guys? So we have here the different carriers, no? Tapos finacet niya by origin, no? So ito si LGA, side by side siya. Ito yung mga L lang, yung mga nanggaling sa LaGuardia from the different carriers. So DL has the highest. Okay. Then sa ano naman sa JFK, ito ano si B6 yung highest. And then si EWR, halos pareho si EV at saka si UA. Okay? So this is now the facet, no? So medyo iba yung ano, iba yung kapag G yung bar lang, okay, as compared to the others. Okay. So any questions with this one, guys?
None, sir.
Okay. So sige, tuloy natin ha. Now let's access yung the other RMD file that I sent. Okay, so I sent this. Okay, na-open nyo na, guys. Kindly open it. Close ko na to. Paki-chat guys kung open nyo na yung file. Close ko na muna yung ibang data frame. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at our our markdown file. Okay. So bike rental, no? Bike rental to. This is just a parang continuation lang. Hindi pa to talaga advanced, no? Nasa basic pa rin tayo. So we're going to use if you haven't run called yung ggplot2 dplyr RGL. Itong RGL bago, first time natin gagamitin to, no? We're going to use this for the first time. Okay, so paki-install muna siya. Pag hindi niyo pa, malamang hindi niyo pa na-install yan, so install. Ito lang, pwede niyo gawin yan sa console natin para hindi niyo nabaguhin dito sa script window natin. And then install RGL, and then after that, i-require natin. And when you're done, guys, kindly, thank you. Okay, I won't install it anymore kasi na-install ko na siya. So this is more for 3D, no? I hope umabot tayo sa example natin. Okay, are you ready, guys? Okay, thank you. Okay, then kindly, guys, kindly open this URL. Open natin sa Google, guys. And then you'll be led to this. It's this one. So University of California, Irvine, guys, has a repository of data sets. So you can access this. Maraming data dito. The next activity will be for you to prepare a ggplot, different types of a data of your choice. So dapat ipapa-approve nyo sa akin yung dataset na gagamitin nyo. And one source will be UCI machine learning. Dapat guys, hindi yung hindi yung nakakita kayo ng example sa internet. Tapos yun ang gagayahin yung hindi pa pwede yun. Honestly tayo dito, and most probably malalaman ko yan. So ito yung datasets na makikita sa UCI. Okay, so several datasets you can, I suggest you try exploring this already para maghanap na kayo ng dataset na gagamitin nyo para mag-plot ng ggplot. Okay, so to make sense of the data that you chose. Okay, syempre guys, do not just limit the functionalities to to what we have discussed, go beyond, no? Go beyond. Okay, so ano ba laman ito? This is, ito yung contributor nito. This is from Portugal. Okay, so ano yung mga laman ng, this is bike sharing systems. Okay, tapos andito yung variables niya, yung index, date, season niya, 1, 2, 3, 4 daw, winter, spring, summer, or fall, ibig sabihin nun. Si year, 0 and 1, binary siya, 2011, 2012. Yung months naman, 1 to 12. Yung hours, 0 to 23, etc. No? So may weather situation here tayo, 1, 2, 3, 4, clear. No? Temperature, guys, Celsius. Kaso, ano siya, no? Mamaya papakita ko kung ano yung temperature. Then humidity, wind speed. Okay, then here we have the count. Rental, yung count dito, rental bikes. Okay. per day to, no? Per day. So let's go now to our R. Okay, I hope you have saved the CSV file. Okay. Now, import the CV bike share object. Nakasave na ba yung sinare ko sa inyo na bike share na CSV file? Sinave nyo na ba, guys? Either sa working directory nyo, anywhere there? Have you downloaded it and saved it? Okay, good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let's import the bike share object, which I shared with you. Let's see the first 6 column. Ibig sabihin, anong code to? First 6 columns. What code will this be, guys? Head, no? And then get the structure and the summary. Okay, so one way to do this, to import your data set is, di ba nag-import data set tayo kanina? Ito. So let's come up with another way. Let's use code. So let's create an object called bike share. Okay. Then, ano yung code nito para mag-access ng CSV file? It's read.csv. Okay. Read.csv. Of course, guys, if you want to learn more about this, diba? Read.csv. Always make it a habit to do this. May CSV2 din kasi, no? Tapos meron din underscore, so magkaiba siya. If you click this, pa pala makiklik. So ito, no, read.csv. And then ito yung mga parameters niya, yung file. And then kung header is equal to true, kung separated ba siya by comma or by quotes. Okay, yung decimal ba niya, period. Okay, may field ba siya, etc. No? So may several parameters that we need to. Pero yung iba dun, guys, i-default na lang natin. So let's use this. How do we access that file, guys? So na tayo here. And we can use file.choose. Okay. So papapiliin natin yung computer kung anong file yun. Para hindi na natin pupuntahan yung file tapos ikakopy natin location tapos ipipaste pa natin dyan. No? Mas mahaba pa yun. So header lagyan natin is equal to, kasi may header yun, header is equal to true. Alright, so this is our file. This is the code, guys. Bike share, read.csv, file.choose. Okay, if you enter that, control enter, what will happen? What will happen, guys? Ulitin ko, ha? Okay, may lalabas, guys, na window where you're being asked kung asan yung file. Where is the file? So here, I'm just going to choose that. Where is that file? That's bike share. Ito, bike rental pala, bike rental. That's the name of the file, bike rental. Then open. Okay, once you do that, guys, automatically lalabas na si bike share dito. Yeah. So this is our bike share data. I didn't even, okay, so saan na ako? Okay, any questions, guys?
Sir,
Yes.
if ever sir you run the chunk again, sir, mag-override po ba yung parang CSV file that you choose? Parang would we have to choose another CSV file?
Again, Ken, sorry.
Oh,
So,
sir, if
rerun
ever
ko to, no?
you
O,
yes,
rerun
sir.
ko. Okay. Tapos, so di ba
Oh,
I'm
sir,
creating object here, bike share. Tapos pag mag-file that choose tayo, mag-open tong window na ito, papahanapin niya kung ano yung ano. So ito,
Oh, okay.
bike rental, di ba? So i-okay ko
Yes,
to.
sir.
Okay, so ilo-load niya to. However, it will call it bike share kasi ito yung binigay ko na pangalan.
Okay, sir.
Diba? Kung ginawa ko tong bike rental, then it will have the same name kasi bike rental din yung file natin.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, but it was able to import this. Ito yung laman ng bike share. Yan.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay?
Thank you po.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ken,
sir.
for the question. Okay, any other questions, guys? Sabi daw dito yung first 6 elements, so bike share natin. Okay, and then sama na rin natin si summary, si bike share, tsaka structure. Pwede natin gamitin si structure. Sino, guys? Pwede natin gamitin si glimpse, di ba? From dplyr. Glimpse and structure will give us the same result kasi. Okay, so okay, yung head. So these are the first 6 elements. Ito yung instant, ito yung pinaka-ID niya. Date and day. Okay, so you see that this is daily date. Season, ito yung winter, spring, summer, or fall. Year, yung 0, di ba? Ito yung ano? Ito yung 2011. Pag 1, 2012. You have the month, kung may holiday, kung anong weekday. And then, weather situationer 2, 1. May table na pinakita dun sa UCI site. And then temperature, ginawa niyang decimal, i-convert natin to. And then ito yung count, yung number of bike rentals for the day. Okay, so this is what our data looks like. It's always good, guys, to look at your data and try to understand what's inside your data. Okay, then ang gawin daw natin, okay, mag-create tayo ng isang object, isang column dun sa bike share natin, call it temperature C by multiplying the temperature column by 100. Sorry guys, medyo nabago to. Binago namin kasi ito kanina. So just kindly copy the instructions. Binago kasi namin kanina eh. So sabi dito, mag-create daw tayo ng panibagong column dito sa bike share. So how do we do that? Bike share, column, di ba? And then bago siya, kaya tatawagin natin temp C, temperature in centigrade. Okay, so this is one way to create a column from your data frame. Okay, so far guys, and then Alt minus. So how do we create this? From the bike share, di ba? Ano gagawin natin guys sa bike share? Kasi yung temperature guys dito, naka-decimal. Ayun, temp 0.34. This should be 34. No? So, ano gagawin natin? Any suggestion guys?
Bracket.
Dollar, tapos?
Dollar temp.
And then, andito naman si temp guys. Andito so you no need to type, no? Pag binike share, dollar mo, lalabas dito yung mga laman ni bike share. Yan, temp. So, click done or i-tab na lang. And then, what do we do with this? You multiply this by 100. Okay? So ang ginagawa natin dito, we're creating a new variable, temp C, under bike share to, ano? And then it's created by dun sa bike share, yung temperature, i-multiply natin ng 100, and then i-head natin si bike share. Okay, let's run this. Okay, tingnan natin guys. Ayun no. Kita nyo guys, nagdagdag na siya ng temp C, which is just the product of your temp and your temperature. Okay tayo? Class, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what next? Yung count dito, dun sa ano natin, yung count, ito, i-rename natin guys, gawin nating sales, no? Sige, let's do that. So, in the interest of time guys, sa kabilang section, I was able to give them a few minutes. Pero siguro, ganito na lang guys, kasi magta-time na tayo. And I hope we can finish some other codes here. Okay, hindi ako nabura. Nabura ko na lang to. Okay, so let's see. How do we now change yung count column? Ang sabi, using the pipe operator daw. Okay, so let's create an object called bike share. Ibig sabihin, bike share pa rin yung ipapangalan natin. Kaso medyo mababago na yung laman niya. No? So saan tayo magsisimula guys? So here I'm creating an object called bike share. Whatever we create from this code guys, masusupersede na niya yung bike share dito. Kuha nyo yun guys. Kasi may babaguhin tayo, di ba? Yung column name, babaguhin natin. Instead of count, gagawin natin sales. Okay, so how do we do that? Ano yung first natin? So, di ba guys, magsisimula muna sa bike share. Using the bike share, anong gagawin natin? Remember this? Control Shift or Command Shift M. Yun. Magpa-pipe operate tayo. Pipe operator. Sasabihin natin, and then, okay? So, ganito basa nito ha. Create nga tayo ng object na bike share. Eh, di ba may bike share na tayo? Okay lang. Supersede na yan. Papalitan niya yan. Ano yung laman itong bike share na to? Okay. From bike share, from the original bike share, and then, anong gagawin niya? So, si dploy R, merong function na rename. Rename. Okay, ano i-rename natin? Tawagin natin siyang sales, okay, is equal to count. Okay? Alright? So, simple lang. No? Okay? We could of course use the brackets for changing the name. Pwede rin yun. Okay? Pero, mas maganda na lang yung dploy R in using renaming. So rename sales is equal to, pwede rin guys, marami but we're just using one variable. Okay, and then before we run this, i-view na rin natin si bike share. Okay, so let's run this code. Ay, sorry, but view. Right. So yung head lang, no? Para hindi na bumalik doon. Okay, para makita na natin sa, oops. What happened? Bike share, bike share. Ano mali ko dito? So spacing ba? See? Ano mali ko guys?
Sure, baka na-run nyo na before.
Naran ko na, no? Oh,
chunk.
sorry. Naran ko na, no? Sorry, Naran ko na to, guys. Sorry. Okay, naran ko na to, no? So, ibig sabihin, nung binu ko si bike share, yan na. Sales na siya, no? Sales na siya. And then, what I did was, I ran it again. Rinan ko ulit to. Eh, di ba wala nang count na column? So, nag-error na siya kasi sabi niya, wala kang count na column dun sa bike share. Kaya nag-error na siya. Okay? So that's what happened, guys. Naran ko na siya eh. Napalitan na niya si count ng sales. And when we check, guys, naka-sales na siya, no? What I wanted was not view but rather head. So, i-run natin to. Head. So kita natin, guys, yung count natin naging sales na. Tapos andito pa rin si temp C. Okay, guys, clear so far? Okay. So far, guys, we have been looking at yung ggplot, ano, to plot our geometric objects, our graphs. However, si base R meron din siya, no? So let's run this. Itong plot function. Question plot. So run natin to. Control Enter. And then dito, you'll see that may dalawang plot. Yung isa nasa graphics na package. Okay? Yung isa naman nasa base. Ang kailangan natin, guys, yung nasa base R. Generic XY plotting. Let's click this. Okay. Then it will tell us ano yung syntax ng plot natin. So plot, you first have your x-axis, your y, and then there are several arguments here. Andyan yung type, main, this is for the title, then subtitle, meron yung X label, Y label, at saka aspect ratio. Then here are some details here. And then here are some examples. What's good about this is that you can follow the examples, guys. You can follow this. Okay, kasi may cars na data set. No? So pwede nyo gawin to. No? Hindi na tayo abot sa lowest. Pero at least, guys, if we're not definitely we're not be able to finish this, but may I request you guys to try to work on this. May lowest tayo dito, no? Okay, ito yung lower regression. Okay, so let me go back here. So we can use the plot instead of the ggplot. No? Kaso nga lang may inherent disadvantage to kasi limited yung ano niya, no? But let's just use it anyway. So let's use plot. Tapos anong sabi? Ano daw dapat yung x? Okay, x, no? X is equal to, okay, si sales ang gagawin natin x. Si y yung temperature. So, hindi, sorry, si temp pala yung ano. Temp ba o temp C ang gagamitin natin, guys? So, sorry dito. Dapat to temp C, no? Temp C. And then y is equal to yung sales natin. Okay, question, will this run? Will this run, guys? Subukan nyo nga. Magra-run ba yan?
No, sir.
No. Bakit no?
Kulang ng bike share dollars.
Kasi, guys, hindi naiintindihan ni R kung sino to. Ano yung temp C na yan? Wala naman tayong object na temp C dito. Okay, walang temp C dito. R will not understand that. Unlike sa ggplot, guys, remember sa ggplot, yung data muna pinaplot natin, di ba? Data is equal to bike share. Eh dito naman, wala naman nakalagay na data sa plot function. But, so we have to identify kung saan ano siya. Kung saan galing na ano na object, no, na data frame. Ganun din to si sales bike share dollar. Okay, with that, guys, mapaplot na natin yan. So that's it now, no? Andiyan na si sales at saka si bike share temperature. Now, is it possible to run this without without yung putting bike share here? Pwede ba? Pwede, guys. You can make use of this, require, then bike share. Okay, if you use this code, if you include this, guys, maiintindihan ni R na yung mga following codes natin refers to this bike share. Okay? So pwede nyong subukan nyo lang i-require yung bike share tapos i-run nyo, tanggalin nyo yung bike share dito, it will run. However guys, ang disadvantage yan, kung may ibang objects tayo na ginagamit. Kunyari, ginagamit ko si weather, si flights, okay? It's possible na magkaroon ng problem, guys, kasi remember that R is now focused on bike share. Okay? Pero may code rin para matanggal mo siya, no? Matanggal yung pagiging required. So I want you to find that out. Kung re-require natin, tapos prinat natin to without the bike share here, gagana yan. But yung next code, kunyari, ang gagamitin natin si flights, dapat itatanggal mo yung requirement dyan kay bike share para magamit mo naman yung ibang object. No? Okay? So it's already time, guys. So ito lang, sinabi ko lang dito para sabay lang tayo dun sa isang section. Pag nabago to, guys, without X and Y, babasahin niya ni R as X muna. Yes, correct, no? Allen, thank you. So sinagot na ni Allen, no? So require muna, tapos pag kunyari gagamit na kayong ibang object, i-detach nyo. Okay? So isulat ko dito So, dito, kunyari tapos yun ang gamitin si bike share, i-detach nyo. Detach si bike share. No? This will be good, guys, kung marami tayong many times natin gagamitin si bike share na tuloy-tuloy, maganda to. No? Pero ako personally, I still would want to use this kahit hindi ko na rin i-require kasi gusto ko pa rin makita. Pagbasa ko minsan, alam ko kagad na nanggagaling sa sa bike share. Kasi kunyari kung nasa intermediate na yung mga codes natin, tapos re-require natin si bike shares initially, baka hindi ko na, ano nga ba to? Anong object bang galing to? So that's the only disadvantage. Okay? So we end in this, guys. May I request you to please try and, oops, sorry. Stop.